I want to talk a little bit about a little mobile game I've been playing recently. It's called Progress Bar. Progress Bar, is the full title like 98? Progress Bar 95. I think it's also on Steam. I've been playing it on mobile, but it's on Steam. I might recommend you play it on Steam for the $5 price tag because, okay, so here's what Progress Bar is. So Progress Bar 95 is a really, really charming little game that is essentially, I really like it. It's difficult to put it into a genre category. Essentially what it is it is a visual recreation of like a Windows, at the beginning, it's like the Windows 95 operating system with the same, they never say Windows, they use their own little words for it, but visually it is directly modeled after Windows, from the backgrounds to the colors to the icons. And it is essentially this little like fake Windows OS, and from there you play little games using the elements of the UI and the kind of iconography of Windows OSs over the years, because you unlock essentially sort of like different skins, sort of, for the game as you progress. So like the original game mode is the reason it's called Progress Bar is you've got this little progress bar and blue little squares or rectangles fall from the top of the screen, and you have to catch them in your progress bar, literally the loading bar filling up. You have to catch them to fill it up. You've got all these different types of different colors of little rectangle pieces that will do. Most of them are harmful. They'll subtract. They'll kill your run outright. Some of them are basically just like they'll take up space on the bar, but they won't contribute to your points count, kind of thing. And then you're basically just trying to fill it to 100%. And you got this whole progression track where you every time you do that, basically finish a level, you'll you fill up more basically you get more system upgrades. And the further you go getting system upgrades, the closer you get to upgrading your OS. And they progressively add in more elements like, there's little sort of enemies that start dropping down, and they're clippy. Oh, it's clippy. And then there's like a clippy that it's holding like a stick of dynamite, and you can physically tap, or I assume click in the PC version, on like the close button, and you interact with all of these little windows. Like little windows will pop up, like essentially almost like when you'd have a virus or something. So like a pop-up will come and it'll block your progress bar from where you can move it around. You can move it around freely around the screen, right? But these little things might pop up to block you, so you got to close it. Then later on, ones will start popping up, and it'll you can't X out the window until there's like a little checkbox that says close. You can close this window or something like that. So you got to click on that. Then you got to click the click the X. And then the further you get, the further you progress, you unlock other little games. So there's like a pretty fun Minesweeper clone, which has actually, I really like its little twists. It's got a little modulation on Minesweeper, which is essentially that there's the mines, which will game over instantly, but there's a second kind of lesser penalty square that you can hit, which is these yellow squares, which all the color coding is consistent throughout the game. So in the regular progress bar like mini game or I don't know what you'd want to call it, the yellow bits will take up space on your progress bar, but they won't contribute to your points cost, right? Same thing here. So it's kind of like less of a in every single one of these games, you're basically just collecting the blue. You're trying to collect as many blue rectangles to fill up your progress bar to 100%, just in various different ways. It's kind of fun. You're taking the same goal basically, but you're accomplishing it in a bunch of different ways. So you have these like yellow tiles, and you don't want to get those because you're not going to get like the full reward. You're essentially going to have like empty percentage on your progress bar. So it'll contribute less to your overall progression track. But it's not like an outright game over, which is kind of nice, because oftentimes in Minesweeper, I think one of the most... I like Minesweeper, but oftentimes one of the most frustrating parts of that game is that you're just forced into guessing. You're just forced into a 50-50 situation, or you have to kind of click around blindly, and the only penalty tiles in the game instantly game over you, and it's like, okay, it's a little annoying. Me personally, I'm someone who I prefer games to have... I don't like being put in entirely 50-50 scenarios. It's not something I care that much for. I prefer it more so when I always have an opportunity to figure my way out of the situation. So it's kind of like a nice little way of doing that. There's just like other really just fun. Playing the game it's really delightful. It's a delightful little game. You get the trash bin, right, or the recycling bin, but it's like a little pet. It's like a little dog type thing, and you'll tap on it and you can like caress it, and it has like a happiness value, and you'll get little you'll get like mail, you'll get email, and then you can decide to like reply to the mail. You can send it to spam. If you reply to it, sometimes you'll get back like a follow-up, and it'll give you extra points. If you send it to spam, it'll go into the recycling bin, and then you can clean it out, which will make it happier, and it'll ask you questions sometimes. It's like this little digital, almost like Tomodachi, this very simple little Tomodachi type thing. There's a whole interesting fun, like, you unlock a modem at one point. You unlock a modem, so you get internet access, meaning that you can now use the browser on your desktop, and the browser is like all of these different like very early like 2000 style Angel Fire websites, and you're essentially just clicking on links to go to different web pages, and you can like collect. There's like, there'll be a little cookie icon hidden on one of them. You click that and you get a cookie, and you can spend the cookies on other web pages. You can find like little asterisks, and if you collect enough asterisks, there'll be websites where you need a password, and you can input the asterisks, like, typing in a password when it's hidden, and that'll like get you into like a new like secret or a hidden web page and stuff like that. It's really fun. It's really charming and fun. There's it's called like Progress. I forget what it's called, but there's essentially like a text adventure DOS prompt mode where it's like it's literally like a DOS. It's a text adventure using DOS commands, where you've got this machine. You've got your machine. You're navigating it with DOS prompts. So it has a little. I know all the ones. It's just like directory and CD and just typing in the name of the thing. It's very simple. It's like the only DOS commands you really need. But you can find like little hidden files around the computer. You can find like cheats for certain games that you can then input, and it'll change it for that day or whatever. It's like so much fun little goofy stuff. And every time you kind of like 100% the OS, you unlock the next, so you get, essentially their Windows 95, then the 2000, the ME, which I think they call the meme edition, hardy har, the XP, all that, and it's I think eventually, I'm pretty sure there's even like Apple OSs, Mac OS versions, which I'm curious like how they adapt. And it's just like a really cute, charming game with a lot of fun little stuff. It's like a great, I think they called it hyper casual, and it really is, because it's like, it's casual. Like all the game types are very casual, right? It's nothing super deep, nothing mechanically complex, but just there's so much of it, and there's so much effort put into it, and it just, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a playground where you're just kind of constantly like, oh, I wonder what the next interesting little twist or surprise they're going to throw at me is. And the one reason I would say to either just to spend your money on it, as opposed to just playing like the free versions you can get on mobile, is there's ads obviously in the free version. You can buy, I think you could spend a couple dollars and get the ad-free version. And because it's a shame, man, ads suck, right? Like ads, everyone knows ads suck. Ads suck on mobile, like they blow, right? And the thing is, it's like especially, it really hurts in this instance because the aesthetic is so strong. And most of the time when you get an ad in like a mobile game, I haven't had the experience where it takes me out of the game as much, outside of just like the, you gotta wait for a second kind of taking you out of it. This is like even more unfortunate because the aesthetic is so strong, and I get so into the visual, and like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm actually kind of navigating through an operating system that's really fun, and then you just get slammed with like some really shitty game ad or something like that, and the whiplash really breaks the immersion, and it's really a shame. And it's like, can I really blame the developers? They obviously put a ton of work into it. I think, I don't like ad-based models personally. That's why I don't use one for my own stuff. But I'm not going to blame anyone for using it, especially if you offer, a totally fair paid version. I would recommend checking it out. And to be honest, the ads aren't like it's not like super intrusive. It's not like every 15 seconds you're getting one kind of thing. It's just often enough that I'm like, man, this is